Good morning, everybody. We are glad to be back with you today. We have a fun episode today.
We do. I'm really excited about this.
It's going to be a lot of fun. We'll get into that in just a little bit, but what kind of week you've had? We have had a pretty crazy week.
My parents came in, and we're happy that they're back for a little while for our daughter's graduation.
For yourself.
I'm speaking for both of us, and we are both very happy.
But we do have daughter graduating from high school coming up, so
yeah,
that's going to be happening here.
2 days.
Yep, and then we got a little graduation party happening.
In 3 days.
So.
Then a birthday party in 5 days.
Yeah, so it's like. Boom,
and then
boom,
mother-daughter
boom,
luncheon,
boom.
and that more than you need to know about, but it's insane.
May is crazy. Then we get into the towards the end of May, we're going to a couples retreat because we don't just tell people you should go to them. We go to them ourselves up in Jacksonville, and then the following weekend we're going to be speaking at Marriage Retreat in Mississippi. We've talked about that the last couple weeks. So May is like nutsos for us.
But I think May is nutso for most people.
Yeah.
Mostly because graduation and Mother's Day is in May.
Yeah.
For most people. Some graduations end up being like beginning of June, but it's all right there. And here you've got Memorial Day and usually family stuff. And it's just, May is busy for people.
Crazy time. So, but it's good. Love to hear about what you got going on this month. What's it like for you? You have kids graduating. What's your Mother's Day plans? So love to hear all about it. And now we're going to be talking about childbirth.
Yeah.
So it should be fun.
Yep.
All right, let's get into it. Gather round, everybody. It's time for a family meeting. The Family Meeting is a show that's all about family relationships. We're the Osterkamps. I'm Thomas, and this is my wife, Lysandra.
Hello, and welcome to our family. Welcome to episode 240 of the Family Meeting Podcast. We are feeling light and airy and breezy today.
Because we got a fun one.
There are some hard episodes that we have to talk. We have to talk about some really sad, heavy stuff.
Like those 2 addiction episodes were heavy.
They were tough.
This one we just get to have fun.
Yeah. So we've both been like looking forward. We knew this episode was coming. We've known for a couple of months. And so we're like really excited to get to actually talk about this. And on today's episode, we are sharing listener and family meeting community responses to this question. What is the worst thing a husband can say to his wife while she's giving birth?
Yeah.
So funny. The answers have been awesome. You guys, once again, did not disappoint. We have some funny people in our group.
Those of you who are watching on YouTube right now, drop yours in the comments if you haven't already. We'd love to be able to share those as well.
Yeah. There's a couple that I read that I was like, I thought of that one. But there are so many that I was like, oh, my mind didn't even go there.
Yeah. And if you're listening on the podcast and you didn't get a chance to chime in yet, you can shoot those to info@familymeeting.org. And we do share your comments and questions from there as well. So before we jump into sharing all of the comments that you have sent in, we're going to be talking about marriage. And some of the things we're going to talk about today may stir up some discussions that cause some problems in your marriage.
Could happen.
Because of what she said when she was giving birth. And so we actually have a resource to help you with that. And that is our book, Happily Never After.
Yes, I'm living it right now.
So we share 5 things we did wrong in our marriage and the 5 things we did to turn those things around.
Yeah.
I think it'll be such a help to you in your relationship. If you haven't grabbed your copy yet, you can grab paperback and Kindle copies on Amazon. And then if you want a signed copy from us, you can go to familymeeting.org/shop and you'll find all of our books there.
Sounds great. You ready to get into this, babe?
I am ready.
All right.
This is going to be fun.
Yeah. And if we have enough time, and I'm really hoping we are going to have enough time, because at the end of this, I'm going to share what Thomas actually said.
Well, let's share that first. We do have some other things about, we have 4 kids, so we've got stories about child labor and delivery that we can share let's go ahead and just lead off. Wow, my voice got high there. I'm a little nervous.
You know what you said was so bad.
So let's lead off with that, and then we'll jump into and see if some of these comments people said can be worse than what I said.
Okay, let me say this. With our first baby, when we were going through it with Catherine, God bless you.
It's going to happen again. Too scary.
Okay, well, wait. There it is. He's a 2 sneezer at least.
Yeah.
When I was giving birth to Catherine, it was our first baby. He was so nervous and so concerned and so beautifully there for me.
Yeah.
And
one thing, you were crazy nutsos about like not being touched at all.
Yeah, I didn't want him to touch me at all. I wanted it quiet.
And I was just scared out of my mind because it's dark. Like, how is this going to happen? This is a crazy thing. Like, I didn't even want to watch the whole situation happen.
No, he stayed real far by my head.
I was so afraid I didn't cut the umbilical cord for her.
No.
So it was.
You didn't even like watch her come out. Or anything.
No, I was terrified.
Yeah, and so he was really great during that labor.
Fear will do that to you.
Yes, but you were not afraid at all for our second baby, Isabella. No,
you use no pain meds for Catherine.
Yeah,
and we get into the second one, and it's like, okay, like,
she's good at this. This is no big deal.
Yeah, no big deal. No big deal.
Yeah. So, and once again, I didn't use pain medicine or anything with Isabella. She came out really fast. But when we got to the hospital, Thomas said this to me. He said, "Oh, this isn't really that big of a deal. You're okay. You got this." Something like that.
Yeah, but here's the thing.
Okay, defend yourself, please, because all the women want to murder you right now.
But I've had the man flu, so once you've had that, nothing is as bad as that.
Yeah, whatever.
Because here is the thing. I've never wanted to have man flu again. I've never been like, hey, you know what? Let's willingly do this again. And with childbirth, you did that 4 times. And you would do it more.
Yes, I would. But with man flu, you don't end up with a precious, beautiful child at the end of it.
Okay.
So
all right.
It does not compare.
Also, you're right. Those two don't compare.
Shut up. Here's what I want to know. What possessed you to tell me that it wasn't that big of a deal with the second labor? Because I remember when you said that, my thought was, but it still hurts. Like, I was like, I think it's still a big deal.
But it doesn't hurt
that really hurt
bad.
my feelings. Why did you say it wasn't that big a deal?
It doesn't hurt that bad.
Because you believed that it was a very big deal with Catherine.
Yeah, I was afraid. I didn't know what was going to happen.
So now that you knew what was going to happen, you didn't think it was a big deal?
Yeah.
Did you not think I was in pain?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean...
Oh my gosh. I'm going to kill you.
If you're in pain, though, and you're like, no, I don't want any pain medicine, it ain't that bad then.
Yeah, it's still bad. You just choose not to have pain medicine for it.
Okay. I mean, I would choose pain medicine every time, so
yeah,
I'm
I know.
just saying.
We're different. We are not the same.
We are different. So, anyway, we're going to go check out this book somebody talked about a couple of minutes ago.
I was going to say, because right now I'm actually starting to get mad. I'm like, not haha mad. I'm like actually starting to get mad at you.
Yes.
And I know that you're trying to make me mad because I know the things you're saying you don't actually mean.
And it's working.
It is working, and that makes me so mad.
All right, so let's get into this. Worst things a husband can say to his wife while giving birth.
Besides the one we've already heard, it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this one was funny. This is from Josh and Laura Gabrielle's.
Sure.
Okay. After each birth, I got a comment to the effect that the entire process stressed him out and he didn't feel right for a week.
Oh, poor guy. I'm sorry, Josh.
Now, I want to say this to Josh because I identify with that. Like, it is stressful. I've said this for a long time. Like, it is harder to watch somebody give birth than it is to give birth yourself. Like, I've been saying this for a while.
That is the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
And I think Josh would agree with me.
Yeah.
You know, it takes about a week to get over that at least.
That is so stupid.
Yeah.
All right. DM Metter says this. I know just how you feel. Like that one time I stubbed my toe and it hurt really bad.
Yeah. Those are equivalent.
Yeah. Right.
This one's great from Brett and Lexi Johnson. Can you keep it down? The game is on. We've got a few about football and stuff in this. It was funny. I can't help it if y'all can't plan the right time to have your babies.
Your babies, you jerk. You are going to come out of this episode looking like such a jerk.
I mean, to be fair, you won them, so.
I hope that this is not the only episode that someone will listen to. If this is the only episode someone listens to, they hate you. They think you're one kind of way.
Yeah.
And you're not. But you really sound like it so far.
Episodes like this bring it on to me. Okay, so I always find it comical when we have somebody chime in who's neither married nor has kids. And that's the next comment here. Mm-hmm. So you want to take this one away?
Yes. He says, literally.
Who's he?
Well, now that you've said that, I feel like we shouldn't say the name.
No, yeah, it's on social media. Like, it's public. This is a public comment. So,
all right. Thomas says.
Thomas who?
Thomas Dolphin says, literally just anything negative. Anything less than a positive word will end you nothing but a sharp slap across the face and an angry glare from your wife, all of which you deserve. Yeah. He ain't wrong.
He's pretty serious. Like,
yeah, he's not getting into the
fun of it,
levity of all of this.
Yeah, he's just like, nope. So Thomas, we'll see when the time comes. I know that I think he's engaged.
I think engaged. Yeah,
he's engaged. So
he'll get there.
We'll see what happens.
He's not wrong though.
We'll bring this question around a couple years from now and see how you feel about it. So
this one's good.
Yeah, from our friend Daryl Graves says, "Suck it up, Buttercup." That's pretty close to what really I said.
Bad. Yeah.
It's pretty close.
That's a really bad thing to say to your wife when she's in labor.
Yeah.
Cheryl's story says, pretty much just opening their mouth.
Oh, jeez.
Better to shut up and just let me squeeze your hand, arm, wrist, or neck.
Yeah.
She gives the laughing emoji.
That is fun. But that's how you wanted it. Like, you wanted things silent.
Yeah, I wanted...
No music, no TV.
No lights.
Didn't want me to talk.
We had the lights off. I just needed to, like, sit with Jesus in the pain. That was how I handled it.
Which child did you have the nurse that, like, came in real loud, flipped the lights on, like...
Violet. And I actually asked for a different nurse because she was not only, like...
Oh, that's right.
Rude, but she also, when she checked me at one point, and this was my fourth child, like, I had been through...
You have an idea of what's going on.
Yeah, and how strong the contractions were and everything. And so I knew that, like, labor was progressing because of how quickly my contractions were coming and how strong they were. And she checked me and she said I was 3 centimeters. And I was just like, I don't think that's right. And she had just come off of training. She told us that. And she said, like, everything she did, she was flighty and like, I think I'm going to say 3. Like, she was just not trustworthy. And of course, I'm a very, like, I care about people and I never want to hurt anyone's feelings.
You're so gracious to anyone not named Thomas.
Yes, I am. That's true. But in this case, it was like, I'm going to deliver a baby. I'm not going to mess around here. So I just told her, I said, I don't mean to offend you, but I would like to ask a more experienced nurse to come in and check me, which was really hard for me to say.
Yeah.
But I knew I had to. And so a different nurse came in and checked me and she's like, yeah, 8 centimeters. And I was like, she said 3 centimeters. You're saying 8 centimeters. I want a different nurse. And
yeah.
I was very like
that's not
direct.
Even close.
Yeah. I was like, we are not going to mess around with this. And so I got a different nurse and the nurse who came in and checked me in was correct. And she was very polite and allowed me to go through the labor in the way that I wanted to.
Yeah.
But I forgot about that bad one. Women, stick up for yourself when you got to be your own advocate.
Yeah.
In labor and delivery.
So this one comes in from Zach Friedrich. You're doing great, babe. We're almost there, but I need you to really push. The big game starts in 5 minutes, and that gives me just enough time to cut the umbilical cord, snap a selfie, and run back to the room.
Oh, man. He understands what not to say.
He understands the time frame that it takes. So this is an experienced father here who understands this is exactly how much time I need to get there for kickoff.
It's definitely a horrible thing to say if your spouse is in labor. All right. Jonathan Bryant. Anything, period.
That's just, If you say anything, it's the wrong thing. Him and Cheryl, get together.
Yeah.
Here, because
Yeah.
just don't say anything.
It's true. Like, very wise man. Very wise man. Chris DeWin says, not a husband, but I had a nurse tell me natural childbirth couldn't hurt that bad and to stop exaggerating the pain. Who is this nurse? Who is this?
I think it's the same nurse you had.
Yeah. It's definitely a nurse who hasn't had a baby.
Yeah.
Because you cannot, or maybe she only had C-sections?
I don't know.
Because she said natural childbirth couldn't hurt that bad and stop exaggerating the pain.
Yeah, I don't understand.
I've never slapped anyone in my life.
And
I think I'd slap that person.
And I don't understand how this person is a labor and delivery nurse. If
Absolutely.
This is their mindset.
Right. Yeah.
So it doesn't make any sense. Misty Hepker commented, "Please be quiet. I'm watching TV." Yeah.
I'm sorry, but I believe that has had to have happened in a labor and delivery room.
With how many times it's brought up about the game and watching TV, I'm sure it has happened.
Yeah. I remember visiting a couple, because, Thomas is a pastor, and a lot of what we do is we visit in the hospital, whether it's positive things like the birth of a child or negative things, surgeries and such. And we have gone in where they have been like, where you find out that like the husband's trying to watch TV while the wife is in labor. I just cannot even fathom it.
Yeah.
What did you do when I was trying to, just be quiet and TV off, lights off? What did you do?
Sat in eternal boredom.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I knew you didn't have TV on or anything, and that
didn't have
before...
TV on. It was before everyone had cell phones and could stream to their phone with earbuds and all that.
Right. Yeah. Earbuds weren't even a thing.
Yeah.
We
so
were
like
having babies.
Husbands now have it so easy. Like you can just literally pop in your earbuds, and as long as you're not screaming at whatever's happening on the screen, it's quiet and fine.
All right, can I give some advice to the men?
Yeah, go for it.
I think that the men need to hear this advice. If your wife is giving birth and you have the earbuds and everything, and your plan is to like let her labor, and you're gonna sit in the room and watch TV or the game or whatever, one earbud in, one earbud out, because you better be listening to your wife when she needs an ice chip or a massage or a hand or whatever she needs.
I would definitely
one earbud.
Don't turn on noise canceling. That would be
no, definitely not.
Because they have the passive, so you can hear everything happening around you.
But I have a rule for my children. If we are doing any kind of work and they are working with me, one earbud all the time. Actually, that's our rule for around the house too. Because if I call my children, they better hear me calling.
Yeah, but only one of you's working when it comes to childbirth. So
yeah, but you better be there for that woman.
So I don't have to have just one in.
Do not listen to my husband. Men, do not listen to him.
Listen, just don't have the noise canceling on.
No, one earbud.
Passive so you can hear what's happening.
Robert, oh my gosh.
Okay, so Don Houts says, "These are so funny. Mine was, it was a breeze because it went so fast the first time. Second baby was breech, much different."
Yes, we had one breech baby and it was terrifying.
But that's funny. Like
it went,
it went so fast. It was a breeze. How would everything go? It was a breeze.
Now I haven't. All my labors were like over 12 hours, so I didn't have any that were like, I would say a breeze or whatever. But even if you have a baby that comes really fast, it's still not a breeze.
Yeah.
Like Isabella, we labored at home more. And then when we actually got to the hospital, she was born really quickly. But the labor, I still labored over 12 hours. It was just that I did a lot of it actually at church before we went, because I was afraid that it wasn't the real thing, even though she was my second baby. And so even if the baby comes really fast, it's never a breeze, you guys. It's still really, really tough. It's hard. Is this my turn or your turn?
Yours.
Gregory Ream says, "Aren't you being a tad dramatic?"
Yes. Be dramatic about it.
Ooh, that's bad.
So Jason Frost says this, and he's a smart dude. He's just like, I'm going to pass on this one. Like, I'm not going to talk about this. I'm not going to get myself in trouble.
I want to know from Jana if he said something he shouldn't have said.
Yeah.
That's what makes me wonder.
So the comment that I made And then we had a couple other people make it. Tim Newman as well. You are still cooking dinner, right? I thought that was funny.
That is a really good comment. That was one that I thought of too.
Yeah.
Okay, Richard Rock. Any idea how to get this TV remote to work in here? That was very good. Very, very good.
Especially asking her to figure the TV remote out.
I'd be so mad at you.
Yeah.
All right, this is you, babe.
Yvette Barrios Negron. 2 funny things. For my son in 2003, World Series was on. Hijacked the TV. Then when labor began, asked the doctor, how long will this last before she pops? I'm starving.
Oh my gosh.
My husband, ladies and gentlemen, proceeds to go downstairs and order McDonald's for breakfast. Side note, the night before, he brought Wendy's to eat as he hijacked the TV and I was in active labor.
Shame on him. Oh my goodness.
Hey,
Yeah.
when a man's got to eat, man's got to eat.
He
know what I'm
definitely
saying?
was feeling like this is no big deal. That's no big deal behavior.
Yeah. Now, I know you didn't want me to eat in the room.
No. Well, because I was vomiting. Like I was sick.
Yeah.
So the smell of food.
Yeah,
I'm like,
you didn't
leave.
want me to eat in the room.
Go get food, but don't be in here.
And you were okay with me eating, but just don't eat in the room.
Yes. I wanted you to eat because I still cared about you.
Yeah. I remember one of the kids, after they were born, I went down to a steakhouse right nearby. Mm-hmm. I had steak and shrimp as a celebratory meal. I think I brought you back something. I brought you back something.
Didn't you go with Ryan?
No. Well, maybe one time. One of the kids. One of them I was by myself.
It wouldn't have been Isabella because you were so sick.
Yeah, that one I was really sick.
We'll talk about that in a minute, but
All right, so here she says,
Yvette.
this is Yvette still, and for Matthias in 2012, he looks at the monitor attached to my stomach, says, man, babe, that's a big one. You should see this.
So he's talking about the contraction. For those of you who have not gone through labor yet, the monitor monitors how big the contraction is and like how severe. So that is not what you want to hear when you're going through it.
She says, really get away from me before I throw something. Babe, I don't understand why you're being so mean to me.
Oh my goodness. Men are clueless, aren't they?
Yeah.
All right. Rich Robinson says, you look like you have this under control. I'm going to head downstairs to the lobby and watch the game.
A lot of us guys have this same thing in mind.
Yeah, exactly.
Here we go. This is Karen Adder. I don't know what you're complaining about. At least you get to lay down in bed. My feet hurt from standing up for so long.
That's a bad one.
That's really funny. And there's usually a chair in the room, bro. Sit down. Take a seat.
Yeah, exactly. All right. This is the one who inspired the episode. This is the one.
Yeah.
Because our friend Josh Cormican and Stacy Cormican, they were having kind of like a little argument about how horrible he was in labor and delivery. And he's like, no, I'm not. And she said, this is what he said to me. And when she told me what he said to her, I was like, oh my goodness. I bet there's some funny stuff out there. We got to find out what people say.
What did she say? I don't see it. Is it later on?
No, it's right here. Josh said to Stacy, you got this, dude.
Oh, that's funny.
He said, you got this, dude. Which it's not like that's horrible compared to the other stuff that we've had. And it's still just like, what? Out of everything you could say, be like, you got this, dude. Give a thumbs up.
Yeah.
But he asked Stacy, like, Stacy, care to chime in? And she did not.
Yeah, that's funny.
She had nothing to say.
So Beth Wallace-Guidro says, anything at all.
Yes. Anything you say at all is the worst thing you can say.
Yeah.
Just shut your mouth.
I love this one from Paul Briggs. It better not look like your mom.
That's so bad.
That's
Oh,
great.
man.
That's great and painful on so many levels.
Right. Like, let's attack everything that means anything to you.
Yeah, that's great.
Patty Allen says, is the laundry done at home?
Yeah, this is the whole like cooking dinner.
Yeah.
All that.
So bad.
Beth Wallace-Guidros came back again, and this time says, my husband almost missed the last birth because he left to go eat red beans and rice with my brother.
Shame on the father and the uncle.
That's funny.
For shame, you guys.
Red beans and rice. I'm not a fan of red beans and rice.
Yeah, you wouldn't miss anything for that, but you'd miss anything for a lot of other foods.
Oh, totally. Yeah. Yeah. I definitely would.
Yeah. Amanda Lawrence says, I don't now know about y'all, but my husband was everything I needed in the hospital room. He was so gentle and caring. He even held my hand and kissed my forehead, telling me I'm doing a great job when pushing. 10 for 10.
Wow. I don't know who
Good
Amanda's
job,
husband
dude.
is, but come on, bro. Like you're making us all look bad.
Yeah, he's raising the bar. Come on, guys. Join him up there.
So I think we need to revoke this dude's man card.
All right, no, he deserves his man card.
No, because he's making all the rest of us men look bad.
His husband card. Okay. What we should do is what's the best thing that they can say. But I'll tell you what I think is the best thing that you could say. And you did say this to me. I'm so proud of you.
Yeah.
Because you do feel like I'm doing this amazing thing that's really, really hard. And so to hear your husband say, like, I'm really proud of you, that means a lot.
It's an incredible experience. It's, the miracle of life and birth. It's an incredible thing.
Yeah. And it's one amazing thing that women can do.
Well, yeah, because if it was up to us men, it would not happen.
Yeah.
There's
The human race
I
would
would
be
be like,
doomed.
woman, don't come near me because
Yep.
I ain't doing that.
Yep. It's true.
Ryan Livingston said, looks like the mailman.
That's so bad. Oh my goodness. All right, Ryan Flanders. We got the Ryans now. Let's bring the family in to watch.
Oh, jeez.
That is a really bad thing to say
Yeah.
to your wife when she's in labor. I didn't want anybody in the room except for Thomas.
Yep.
That was it.
So we've heard from Zach Friedrich. Here's Monica. She says, my back hurts. That couch was uncomfortable. And then she goes out of her way to try to defend her husband to say it wasn't him, but I'm pretty sure it was him. She says, note, this is not a reflection of Zach Friedrich. Ha ha.
Yeah, my back hurts.
But
That couch was uncomfortable.
But I'm not sure. That sounds legit.
I do feel like I remember you complaining about one of either the chair or the couch in one of our delivery rooms that you had to sit in.
Yeah, they were not comfortable.
Yeah. But you know,
The ones
they
in
don't-
Alabama were not comfortable.
You don't deserve to be comfortable. You did this to the woman.
She wanted me to do it to her, so.
All right. Sarah Johnston says, now you can relate to my man cold, which is a horrible thing to say.
Yeah.
And yet we know men think that. And then she said the thing that Thomas always says. It's harder to watch someone give birth than to give birth.
Yes, Sarah, yes. This is what I'm saying.
He loves that line, and he doesn't actually believe it.
I need to know who Sarah's husband is because I feel
I can't remember his name.
I just feel like we'd get along so well.
Yeah.
Because he understands man cold and man flu. Like, you would never wish it on your worst enemy. You'd never want to go through it again. You don't want anyone else to experience. And yet women want all other women to give birth, and they want to go through it again and again and again.
Oh, my goodness.
So,
It's just hard to even listen to you.
yeah. What about this one from Christine Tucker Culver?
This is really, really bad.
My mom is coming into film, honey.
That is terrible.
Do just mother-in-laws come in? Like, I know a lot of women ask their mom to come in.
Yeah, they do. What was the question?
Mother-in-law.
Do mother-in-laws ever come in?
Like, would you just have the mother-in-law come in?
Like, and not the husband and not your mother?
Not the other mother. Husband probably, but I'm saying, is having the mother-in-law come in a thing?
I think it's very unusual. I think that there are cases where they do, like if the daughter and the mother-in-law are very close, or maybe if the daughter-in-law has already lost her mother.
Yeah.
And the mother-in-law has taken that kind of role of her mom. But I think it's really, really rare. Because giving birth is kind of gross. It's very gross. Let's be honest. It's very gross.
It is beyond gross.
You're so vulnerable. It's just like you don't want to become a spectacle at all. So you've got to be really close to the person.
I know that. So we had Beth Guidros come in a couple times, and we were just a couple young kids, moved to Alabama away from our family, and she's a nurse, and she asked about us taking courses, prenatal
Birth class.
birthing classes.
Yeah.
And we were like, no, we just really can't afford to. And the cost was $50.
$50. We didn't have $50, you guys. We didn't have it.
There were times we didn't have food in the cupboard. So we're like, no, we can't spend $50 on this class when we have a hard time having food. So she said, well, let me pay for it. You need to go to the class.
Yep,
and I'm
she
so
insisted.
thankful because the things I saw and heard in that class, if I didn't see it and hear it, that it was supposed to happen, I would have thought like, oh my gosh, this woman is literally dying.
Yes. And it's funny because to this day, every time we see Beth Guidros, we're like, thank you for paying for that class. That has meant so much to us over these years. Like it's our oldest daughter is 19 and we are still like, thank you for paying for that class 20 years ago.
Because it is, I mean, it's grosser than you could imagine. Like if you've not been through it, it is so gross.
It is. It is so gross. And yet it's natural and it's what has to happen. But you don't want your mom or mother-in-law coming in to film at all.
Yeah.
So,
that's the last thing you want is mother-in-law pulling out the film at Christmas.
Yeah,
You're
exactly.
Like, hey.
Ugh. Okay, so I have one more story that I want to tell you. First of all, let me thank all of our listeners, our YouTube viewers, our family meeting community online for providing us with such wonderful humor today. It was very fun to laugh with you.
Yeah, and we've been talking about this for so long. Like this has been a lot of fun for a long time for us.
Yeah. So I just want to tell one story of how horrible Thomas was during Isabella's birth, second born. Because now, like I said, with Catherine, he was amazing.
Isabella, though, yeah, I got the sickest I'd ever been in my entire life.
Yes, he actually had the flu. I don't think it was poisoning.
I think it's food poisoning because,
no, because you had a fever.
The night before, actually the night she went into labor, we were at our church for a Valentine's steak dinner.
Yeah.
And I think I got food poisoning. It was this, like probably maybe the sickest up to that point for sure I'd ever been in my entire life. And I was just like puking my guts out. And they actually sent me home from the hospital.
Yeah. So I was in labor and they would not let him be there because they believed you had the flu. Oh, no, she had already been born when they realized you were sick.
She was born and then they kicked me out right after that.
Yeah, because you didn't start throwing up until after she was born, right?
I think I was throwing up before she was born. And they let me be there, and then as soon as we were done, they kicked me out.
So I did almost all my laboring like at church the night before. I was even like washing dishes. The other ladies were like, "Stop washing dishes. You need to go to the hospital." I was like, "No, because what if this is false labor? I'll just keep washing." And then every so often, I would like stop and lean against the counter and be like, "Oh, contraction." And so I had been laboring all night, and finally it was like 11:30. Almost midnight. And we were like, we better go to the hospital. So we get in the car and we drove about 20 minutes to Thomas Hospital in Fairhope, Alabama. And they took me into the triage room and they were like, oh my gosh, get the doctor. And the doctor came in and had the robe draped over him by one of the nurses. And before he got there, though, this is kind of an interesting thing. Before he got in there, I started to push, like not purposefully, but
like it was the baby's just coming.
At one point, yeah, that's what happens if you've never given birth. Your body involuntarily pushes because it's like time. And so my body was pushing Isabella out, and the nurse said, "Stop pushing, stop pushing." And I said, "I can't. I'm not doing it." And she said, "If you keep pushing, your baby is going to drop into a pail." Yeah, that was what she told me, and I was like,
Woosah.
I like relaxed every muscle in my body because I was like, I cannot have my baby drop into a pail. And so she said the thing she needed to say to get me to stop the pushing. It was really hard to.
I would have caught her.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. You were sick though.
I would have got her.
So the doctor comes in, gets just draped with a robe. He does not even have to. He's like got gloves half on, and bam, Isabella just comes out. She just slides out so fast. So we get moved into a room because this was just the triage room. because I waited way too long to go to the hospital with her.
Yeah.
So we get into our own room, and I have just given birth, and I am like exhausted. I'd been laboring all night through the church service, through the cleanup, and after going home and all this. And Thomas is like uncaring. He does not care. He doesn't tell me he's proud of me. Like with Catherine, he was so like, I can't believe you just did that. I'm so proud of you. You're amazing. With Isabella, he didn't even talk to me. He was like on the other side of the room. And I'm like, wow, I can't believe
I don't think
this.
you understood how sick I was.
Well, I didn't even know you were sick at all at that point.
Yeah. Because I was trying not to bother you.
I didn't know you were sick. I just thought you were mean. I would have rather known that you were sick than that you were so mean and uncaring.
Yeah.
So I'm like, man, he's not even asking me what I need. Like my feet were cold. I'm in this hospital gown. You get like a sheet and barely a blanket. And I was like, honey, can you get my fuzzy socks out of my bag? And he's over on the other side of the room. And he's like, yeah. And so he grabs my socks and he throws them to me across the room.
Gently.
When he threw them.
Very gently.
It couldn't have been that gently, because when he threw them, he hit the little styrofoam cup of boiling hot chicken broth that was on my bed table that was over my lap.
Yeah.
When he hit that broth, it went straight over onto my breast.
Yeah.
And burnt my entire breast with burning hot chicken broth.
That she had to feed the baby with.
And now I have to nurse the baby. I was so angry. And I think at that point you actually felt bad.
Yeah, I felt bad about that for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he didn't feel bad about anything else, like not being there for me.
All I felt was sick.
He was so sick. So anyway, that was like probably the most horrible thing that happened in all of our labor and delivery.
And then they kicked me out of the hospital and you stayed there for another day or two by yourself.
Yeah, and I just cried and cried. I was so sad and so lonely. It was awful. But we had all of our church people who would come in, and that was always a bright spot. But I did not like being alone. I sure did love having my baby, but nursing her was terrible for the next week.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why are you laughing? You should still be apologizing to me.
That was 18 years ago. I think we're good.
Oh, I think I'm still mad.
Yeah, you definitely know how to hold a grudge. That's for sure. Next episode on forgiveness.
I can't speak to that.
Yeah. So we enjoyed the conversation today. All the comments and thoughts that you put into the episode, we appreciate it. And family meeting tonight is just to sit down and kind of relive some of those moments from your own personal life, like we've just done with Isabella, and have that time together where you kind of reminisce a little bit.
One thing that we do for our girls for their birthday every year is I tell them their birth story about like what happened leading up to their birth and what happened when they were born and how I felt when I first met them and all of that. So that can also be kind of a fun thing that you can do with your family.
Yeah, most definitely.
Thanks for joining us today. Please go and subscribe to the Family Meeting Podcast from your favorite podcast provider. And if you found this information helpful, please share this episode on social media and invite your friends and family to listen in with you.
To find more content and information Lysandra and I provide, you can go to our website, familymeeting.org, or email us at info@familymeeting.org. If you'd like to shoot us a text or call us, you can send a voice message at 904-257-3062.
And we want to invite you to join us for our next family meeting as we talk about when mom leaves, dad's in charge.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah. Listen, when mom gets home from her little mini trip or whatever, sometimes there's even more to fight about. And you would think that like, oh, mom just got some time away. Dad was great. Superhero took over while she was gone. Why is there so much to fight about when mom gets home? How is this possible? So we're going to talk about some mistakes you can make in your marriage when mom leaves.
I feel like this is going to be another specific episode aimed right at me.
This episode comes from a conversation I had with a fellow mom. And I thought it was interesting because everything she said happened in our marriage.
Oh, geez. Here we go. All right. Well, you'll have to tune in next time to figure out what bad thing I did this time. Thanks for joining us today for this family meeting. Have a great week, everybody. This meeting is adjourned.
Who's excited for next week's episode?
Yeah. Yeah, how fun was that, though? So many
That was
funny
fun.
things that you guys shared with us.
Yeah, we have such great comedians in our groups.
Like we said, drop yours in the comments. Something popped up to your mind that you thought of, or your own personal experience. We'd love to hear about that. So put that there. We'll continue that conversation with each of you there. With that, we wish y'all a great week. We'll see you next time.